Let's hope it's on. Hello, we are live and direct from the UK and from sunny Barbados. Hi, Reama. Hi, Denise. Right, I'm hoping that we've got a few people. We've got 6 people actually watching at the moment.
Wow.
Hi, welcome to Expat Barbados, and welcome to our live stream, our second live stream in this series. Please, you might have seen my comment in the chat which says, please say hi and tell us where you are located.
Hi.
So let's see. Yeah, so let's have a look in the chat. Okay. Okay, yes, we got anybody saying hi? Don't be afraid. Come on, we'd like to say hi to you. So 2 weeks ago, I had my first live here. And at that time, it was a heat wave. Now, today, it's been really, really warm. But about 20 minutes ago, it decided to start thundering and lightning. So let's hope we get through this live. Hi, Dee. Dee is from England. Dorothy is from Barbados. Veggies she's from Antigua. A Goddard is from England. Hi, Nadine. Hi, Nadine. She's just saying hi. Ariella, hi. She's saying good afternoon, ladies. And they are waving to us all. Sophie Love is saying hi from New York. Thank you so much. We've now got 11 people in the chat. That's fantastic because you won't be disappointed because we have got 2 phenomenal women here today who are going to be sharing their story. They're going to be sharing an amazing story. So you are in for a treat. Is that Genevieve? Oh, it's Laurie. Hi, Laurie. Hi. She's in London as well. Nadine's saying hello to everybody as well in the chat. So keep the comments coming, everybody, because this is your opportunity to hear from Denise and from Reama, and also your opportunity to share your questions in the chat, and we will do our best to answer them as best we can. Okay, so the numbers are going up. 13, they're gradually moving up. There you go. Okay, so if you are watching this on the replay, because as we all know, this is the live, and if you missed the live, you can watch this back on the replay. If you do watch it on the replay, then welcome to you. Put #replay, and any questions that you want answering, just put them there and I will do my best to answer them later on. Okay, because as soon as this live is finished, it will go on to the YouTube channel so you can watch it again. So I would really, really appreciate it if any of you would like to share this actual live to family and friends. We would really, really appreciate it. And don't forget to look in the description, because in the description will be all the information we will be sharing today about Reama and Denise, but also Denise has got an Instagram account, which she will tell you a little bit about later. And it would be wonderful if you could go over to her Instagram account and actually follow her, because she is a very creative woman. I tell you, I'm bringing you some real gems to our channel. So she's going to show you how she has used her skills from her first career, but she'll tell you all about that a little bit later. So let's get started. So now let me make sure I've got everything. Yes, I've got the questions this time. Very, very organized. We've got questions as well, because some of you have been asking me questions over the course of the past couple of weeks, and so I've managed to put these questions together as well, questions together, but also a few other questions as well, which I think you would probably be interested to hear the answers to. So the first thing really is just to remind everybody what Expat Barbados is about. Expat Barbados is about you. I help you make the move to Barbados in a way that suits you, your needs and your interests. And how we are going to start doing that today is by talking to Denise and also to Reama. So we're going to start with the first, well, not actually, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about them before we get straight into the questions. I'm going to give you a little snapshot of our guests. So you can see we have Denise there. Do you want to say hi, Denise?
Hi.
So that's Denise. And then Denise's mum, Reama. Do you want to say hi, Reama?
Hi.
Okay, so hopefully everybody can hear us. And if there's any problems with audio, just let us know in the chat. So, and the only person that's missing from there is Paul. But that's okay because we've invited out the two ladies today and they're going to tell us all about how they made the move to Barbados. So Denise and Paul moved to Barbados from London 5 years ago. Wow. Can you remember that?
Time
Denise?
flies, doesn't it? Really quickly. Yes, we can
Wow.
remember it.
Yeah, 5 years ago, after successful careers and bringing up their family. They decided that they wanted to retire early and to retire in Barbados. Now, Denise is of Jamaican heritage and Paul of Grenadian heritage, but both have lived all their lives in England. After making the move to Barbados, they searched and eventually they purchased a beautiful house on the breathtaking East Coast in Fortescue, St. Philip. By learning new skills, they were able to remodel, renovate, and totally transform their house into the stunning home it is today for themselves, their family, and friends to enjoy. And I can tell you it is stunning because I've been there.
Thanks.
Now, Reama, Denise's mother, joined them 3 years ago.
Yes, that's correct. 3 years ago, in the midst of COVID.
In the middle of COVID, moving from Jamaica after spending many years there with her mother after she herself made the move to leave London. Reama, who is now in her mid-70s, but looking absolutely fabulous, as we know, is very settled into her life in Barbados. So today, you are going to learn how this family changed their lives and achieved their dream life by changing their mindset, accelerating change, taking calculated risks, working as a team, and utilizing transferable skills. But most importantly, adapting to their new country, making friends, and developing new and old connections within the local community and across the island, as well as becoming active contributors and supporters of their community. So, yeah, this is an interview not to be missed. So I hope you will start thinking of questions that you might want to ask these ladies. But let's get started. Okay, let's get to these questions. Now, I know some people have been saying to me, oh, I can't come to Barbados, I can't leave the UK, I can't leave Canada, I can't leave the US, wherever, because of their family, because of my mother or my father. But I think we have a wonderful example of here where you've come together and you've found that happy medium. Am I right?
Yeah.
Here in Barbados, what would you say?
That's correct. That's correct. We found a happy medium. We're here together. We work as a team. All that you've said is correct. Although, can I add that Yes, I understand the challenges of leaving family behind, because, to be honest, I think you might come up with another question about challenges. My biggest challenge is, even still today, I have my daughter in the UK still, so I miss her terribly. But having said that, we actually talk to each other every day. Um, and she's getting on with her life, and she's doing fantastically well in her life. So, but I did find that a challenge. And then I have my sister. She's in the UK as well. Again, we talk regularly, don't we? And we make plans to see each other and everything. But yes, so it's like part of us, the family here, and then obviously we've left some in the UK. And my in-laws, I've got wonderful in-laws, a beautiful family, that some are in the UK and some are over here. So yeah, but I mean, it's great when we're all together.
Yeah. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity because they're able to come and visit you, which is great.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about yourselves then. Let's start with the first question, really. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Denise.
Well, yes, you've made a great introduction. So you've actually covered a lot. I am proud of my Jamaican heritage, gotta say. And yes, I was actually born and schooled in the UK. I identify wholeheartedly with my Jamaican heritage. I went through school, and then I actually, my education basis, I became a qualified librarian, but very much from my mom and my positive role models around me, express the fact that education is key. So in the end, actually, I actually worked in education, and I raised the ranks to vice principal in a college in East London. I loved it. But it did come with its challenges. And now looking back, I talk to a lot about this to Mum, and we talk about our life in the UK, and even what we see now is it can be quite stressful, fast paced. So yeah, we never look back really. So that's it. So the stresses mounted up, and there was a lot going on as well in around us in the UK. That we were thinking about it, talking about it for quite a while. About, because we didn't see ourselves growing old in the cold, to be honest. So in the end, we thought, yeah, let's bite the bullet and come over to Barbados.
Okay, and so what about you, Reama?
My journey is a bit different. I was born in Jamaica. I left at an early age, went to England. My mother was in England already. Finished school over there. Spent my years in Leicester, and then moved to London. Got married, had 2 daughters, built a career in between all of that, and later on we relocated to Jamaica. After being in Jamaica for 19 years, my mother had passed, and going into my senior years, I decided, we discussed it, and we came to a place where we thought it would be a good idea for us to live together, so that I was getting lonely, and so I could be with my family. And here I am in Barbados for the last 3 years.
Well, Nadine's just said that's a big thing for me, and a lot of people also wanting to move. They don't want to grow old in the cold.
No, yes, yeah, it's one of those things that I mean, I remember a time when I made my mind up about that, and seeing grandma and then mom relocated, and then Paul's mom relocated too, and then Paul's elder sister relocated. It wasn't something that was like too alien for us, and we went to visit them, and we loved what they achieved, amazed by it. So it was like, yeah, why not? you know. And then Paul's other sister relocated, and so it's just something that had a natural flow about it.
Yeah, definitely.
So after visiting Barbados quite a few times, and
Yes,
actually it's not much different from the Caribbean life that we know in Jamaica, it seemed a perfect fit. So that's where we decided to do, after my mum passed, it just got too much, and then we decided to come together, live together.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you know, it's the same with me. I leave the UK in the colder months because I just can't manage the cold.
yeah,
So I think you're right. It's we're not our best when we're in such cold environments, definitely.
No.
So it's really great that you were able to do something about that. And that's why I think it is important for people, for their health, their wellness, mental health, wellness, physical
yeah.
health. It's so much better when you are in a warm environment. It really,
Yes.
really does make a difference. I just don't feel the aches and pains
No,
that I feel
that's right.
when I'm
And
back in the
warm environments comes easy access to very healthy living and healthy food and outdoor life and all sorts of wonderful things. It just comes with everything.
I'm just going to say a couple of things because we've got quite a few comments. Ginny, thank you so much. She said, please give a thumbs up when you enter. It will help Jay out on the algorithm. Thank you very much, Ginny. Really appreciate that. Yeah, if you can sort of like, you know, press that like button, or, you know, it really does help with the algorithm. And hi to Curtis, Mohammed. Hi to you. Oh yeah, goodness, Fidel. The old and cold comment is such a big truth.
So it is. It really
Exactly.
is.
It really
Yeah.
makes a massive difference.
Yeah, yes.
So now that you've told us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and why did you particularly choose Barbados then? Because like you say, your family is really in Jamaica. It could have been really
Really?
a lot easier to go to Jamaica.
It was at one point, it was 50. I mean, it was like very close, very close contender. But again, after, I mean, Mum will chip in because, you know, we had a lot of discussions, like Mum said, about Jamaica or Barbados. The big factor, a huge factor, is that we were fortunate, like I mentioned before, that we had family and in-laws here already, and it was just a kind of, the lifestyle seemed so straightforward and easy, you know, and because we paid regular visits, and, you know, got married in Barbados. I mean, we fell in love with Barbados straight off the bat, really. So yeah, the pace as well. I mean, that was a big factor, and beauty. So yeah, that was a big reason, really. I mean, yeah, it just seems simpler.
Part of my decision was, after visiting a few times, it seemed very, Denise mentioned, easy. There seems to be the logo or slogan for Barbados is easy. Everybody says, oh, Barbados is easy. It's more relaxed. Jamaica is a little bit more hyper, and it seems much more relaxed here, more than what we were accustomed to there, you know. Yeah. So for me, it's the peace and quiet, and it's much more.
Yeah, thank you for that, Reema. So basically what you were saying is that it's good in a way, because you obviously spending a lot of time in Jamaica and then coming to Barbados a few times, you really were able to see, you were able to compare. And this time of your life, you wanted that sort of quality of life where you felt you could be more relaxed. And have that. Am I right?
That's
absolutely,
correct. Yeah,
absolutely.
Jamaica's kind of you know, it's a lot of crime, and everybody's concerned about it, especially if you're a senior. You know, it's not very easy. So here, it's much more relaxed. You're not looking over your shoulder. You're not looking. You can move about freely without having the fear of anything exploding or anything happening. You know?
The interesting thing as well, it makes me think about a time when we were preparing to come over to Barbados. And I would say to either colleagues or friends or something that we're about to come over to Barbados. And then someone said, I remember it sticks out, it said, someone said, oh, but how are you going to get, it's a new culture. How are you going to manage? Just like at your age, being immersed in a new culture. And then I thought really hard about that question. And to be honest with you, we were brought up in the Caribbean culture, right? It was nothing. It's not like it was like alien, It's like actually when we leave work, and when we say goodbye or see you tomorrow or whatever, I'm always in a Caribbean culture. So it was easy in that respect, and it's easy. As we're saying, easy a lot, but it was definitely, a transition that was smoother. I mean, yeah,
it wasn't alien. It wasn't alien. You come home to a home where it's all mixed. You're living in England, but you're part of you still in the Caribbean
culture. For example, when we meet someone in the street or in the shop or anywhere, good morning, good afternoon, a smile, a nod, acknowledgement. There's little nuances, like slight things that could be subconscious that comes, and it's just a natural thing for us. It's lovely.
Yeah, and we're all brought up to say hello. I mean, that's one thing that is, and it is something that you always, in my experience, is definitely part of the culture of the Caribbean, that you would always say hello to people. Mm-hmm. So, I think it sounds like what you're explaining there, Denise, is that sometimes people don't realize that as Black people, we go to work, we do our jobs. And when we go home, we go back to that culture, but your friends, they might not see that.
No, they don't see that.
They don't see that.
Some do, close friends do, I suppose.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of sees that.
Yeah, I get that. Actually, Nadine's asked a really interesting question. She said, is Barbados better than Jamaica to any of you, and why? Because she says some people say Caribbean islands are the same, but they do have their differences. What were the key differences for you as to why you chose Barbados? I think you said a little bit, didn't you then, actually, Reama? You said that there were certain things that you wanted at this stage in your life.
Yeah.
You wanted more of that peace and relaxation and quiet. You felt you could get that, and you wanted to be with your family.
Want to be with your family at this stage in life. You don't want to be on your own. It is less stressful here. It is less crime here, and it is more peaceful, especially where we are in this community.
Yeah,
and everybody is very friendly. Yeah, so we chose.
I'm not going to say. I think that question is Jamaica better than Barbados? We're not even going to go there with that.
Exactly. We're not going there.
You know what I mean? And anyway, I remember going again with this island rivalry business now, but we're all very proud of our country, no doubt about it. But we can't really say that one island is better than the other, can we? I mean, Jamaica's motto is Jamaica's motto? Out of many, one people. Right. I believe that we take that in our lives. And so, no. Barbados has got its unique, beautiful way about it. But so has Jamaica. I mean, we've just come back from Jamaica, right? Beautiful. I mean, you can't say. And we want to experience all the other islands. Then we'll come back. But I don't think we'll ever even finish that.
This is our base.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're quite right. Actually, when you're in Barbados or in the Caribbean, on any island, it's your base.
Yeah.
And then you've got all those islands around to explore.
Yeah. I mean, we're proud to say, Mum may be 6 foot high when she said to me the other day, "You're a Caribbean girl." I'm like, yeah.
We live in the Caribbean. No matter where you are, Barbados, Jamaica.
Yeah. And also, I think I said this last time on the last live, and because we talked about this with Monica. You know, Monica has met the love of her life in Martinique, but as we said, there are so many people in Barbados from the different islands, and that's what makes Barbados again a wonderful place to be. So you come here and you will meet people from the other islands as well. So it is fantastic. But at this stage in your life, it is important. It was very important for you, Reama, to be with Denise, and this was the kind of life that you wanted, and that's specifically why you chose St. Philip and Fortescue. Do you want to describe that beautiful place that you live in and why it is such a relaxing place, why you've chosen that above all the different areas?
I think, I don't know where to start. We looked everywhere. I mean, we were looking before we even came. And again, thanks to my in-laws, they were really supportive of our search to where we want to go. And, you know, being on holiday and living somewhere else is different too. So obviously when we came and we stayed with our in-laws, we were just continuing the search. And we actually at first thought about Christchurch, which is, 40 minutes away from here. For a start, that's quite good. That's not bad. Christchurch is great. But in the end, after discussion and also a really lovely, I'll never forget my sister-in-law. She was amazing. You know, we had a discussion and we thought, maybe not. So we started again. And my sister-in-law is actually from St. Philip. And then we noticed this place. I think she noticed it, I'm not sure. But we noticed this place in Fortescue, so we thought we'd pay a visit. And we just drove to the top of the hill and we looked at this amazing view. It was amazing, breathtaking, right? And it was a residential area that was like, it has to be intentional to just go to Fortescue, because Fortescue is the place that I know there are a lot of Bajans will say, oh my gosh, it's like, that is far. They'll say it's far, but it's 40 minutes away from anywhere. But anyway, you know, I suppose in the UK, we're used to commuting for hours. So for us, it was like 40 minutes far. Well, maybe not. But it is breathtaking. It is, I tell you what it is. It's kind of like untouched. I think it's more untouched. It's kind of, you know, very natural. It's a place where you can go for long walks, and you just taking the beauty and the rustic ocean, isn't it, Mum? Do you think? Yeah,
it is. Yeah, and for me, it's like a community that everybody's friendly, everybody interacts. Even this afternoon, they're going to be opening up a play park for the youngsters, and we're all invited to go along and to support them.
Yeah,
and also just a nice community feel. Yeah, it makes you feel still involved.
Well, I've got a few questions here. There's quite a few questions coming up, but I think this is a really interesting one, and then we'll go to another one afterwards. Okay. But how do you spend your long, very summery days now in Barbados? Do you miss any aspect of the UK? What's medical care like there? Okay. So, how do you spend your summery days in Barbados?
Well, it's a mixture of things, depending on what takes our fancy. That's nice, isn't it? Yeah. Waking up and going, what shall I do today? Yeah. I know, let's do this. Okay, well, let's go to the beach. Oh, okay, let's go for a picnic. Okay, or maybe not. Oh, but for me as well, I mean, Mum will say, we've been on many sort of trips and found some real hidden treasures. Barbados on the whole, like, love to celebrate. They celebrate life, really. There's a lot to celebrate. There's always something going on, and because we know we're very much involved in our community here in Fortescue, because I offer a service. I have I set up a nail studio, as part of my kind of creative outlook, or outlet rather. And so we have made real lovely kind of friends, and so they've shown us some things that I don't think we'd ever have, or they advise us on things that I don't think we'd ever have known. I think that would probably take us years to know. I think I've lost track of the question. What was it again?
Well, you spend a long summer days.
So we spend our long summer. I spend my long summer days offering some of that service.
Yes.
Just enjoying life, really.
And then we get invited to coach rides, I think they call it.
Yes.
The church puts on their events, and then we participate in that. We go along and then we, like say, I meet some of Denise's clients, and we get in because I want to learn. I just want to learn more about the culture more than from where I'm coming from, and to sort of juggle it together. And it is interesting, and it's lovely to meet and to hear. And they recommend places that we can go, and then we go to some of these places. Some trips we go, and some we don't.
Yeah. So I recommend this old house. That was lovely, isn't it? Cotterton College.
Yeah.
Sunbury House.
Yeah, it's quite
a few places that we visit. But I've always, what I thought, I don't want to. Anytime we're out, I think I don't want to take this for granted. Please, I don't want to take this for granted, because it's so beautiful, isn't it? Yeah.
Because I think what you're describing is the fact that actually you're on this beautiful tropical island. There's so much to explore, especially in terms of the culture. There is so much happening on that island. I mean, I'm on a WhatsApp group, and the amount of things that are coming in, that are happening on a daily basis. And when it gets to the weekend, there are so many things. It's crop over now. I'm telling you, there are so many things happening around the entire island for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's the wonderful thing about it. So I can really understand what you're saying. That's one of the things that makes it almost like you can hardly believe you're in such a beautiful environment, and you have all these things that you think you could take for granted, really, because it's like one long holiday.
That's what I wanted to say, that 3 years of being here, I feel like I'm on a permanent holiday.
There you go. And I think
what do we do today? Do we go to the beach? Do we go out for lunch? Do we go out shopping? It's all different choices, really, and every day is another adventure. It's something you learn from.
Yeah, and I think someone asked about what do we miss about the UK. The only thing I miss is that there is instant stuff. Everything's instant, so the inconvenience seems to be a lot of convenience. I mean, I'm one for Amazon next day delivery. When I was in the UK. But having said that, I think we need to kind of look at that in terms of mindfulness. Why is it that we have to have things straight away? Sometimes things are worth the wait, and also it makes you look at things differently. Less waste. Recycling is a thing for us now. I mean, more so. Mum was always very conscious. I was always, but now it's looking at making the most of what that's how we were able to refurb the house. It was being creative about what we use and valuing the things that we already had. So yeah, so I jumped a bit, but yeah, that was the main thing.
Can you tell us
I love that. But then we could always go to the UK for a holiday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, most people say that in terms of, we've become so accustomed to getting things just like that, especially from Amazon.
Yeah,
that's one of the things that, but that's, like you say, something that you just accept, and you find other ways around that. Like when people are coming to the island, they can bring things with them and so on.
Yeah.
But we've got a really good question here from Curtis, coming from the US. Oh, well, actually, before we go on to that one, there was one more question someone said about medical.
Yeah.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about medical, and then we'll go on to Curtis's question?
We do advise having a medical kind of plan. where it's private care.
Yes, it's like
insurance.
medical insurance.
We do advise that.
Yes.
You can get any, but the doctors are skilled doctors, to the point where I was so impressed that someone detected something that just by listening, like, it was, and they also ask you about yourself. It's holistic. It's not as I remember just leaving the UK, no disrespect, but it was like you only can ask one thing about, you only have like 20 minutes or half an hour to discuss one ailment, nothing else. So I can't say, but then I've got a lot of headaches and no. You've got to deal with one thing and off you go. Here it's they ask you everything about yourself. Then they look at the whole person and go. So yeah, medical care is very good.
Personally, I mean, I have a medical condition, and I was lucky enough to find a doctor. That was not a challenge at all.
Yeah.
It was easy. You just make an appointment, go to the doctor, and they look into your case and take it up from there. Give you all the tests. You have to pay, but that's not a problem. I mean, you pay for the service and you get the service. I had a situation where I had to call out the critical care, and they responded. I was just amazed at the response that I got, and I did not mind paying at all.
They came with state-of-the-art equipment. I couldn't believe it. They had all the thinking of everything, like very modern equipment, and they log it, and it's communicated to the relevant primary care.
Yeah, my experience over there has been very good as well, because I think most people know that I suffer with lupus, so I do go to the doctors when I'm out there for blood tests and so on. And it is, and as I've said before, it's like how England was probably, 20 years ago, when they actually took the time to actually sit you down and talk through with you, get to know you, and do tests. And that we don't get now in England. It's because the system is so I don't know, it's just not working as well as it used to. So yes, I'm very happy with the care that I got out there, and like you said, Denise, the doctors were very good as well. I found very knowledgeable.
I think in the UK, I mean, obviously I haven't been there for a little while, listen to me, but I think there's more paying as well. It's getting more private. I don't know, I'm not sure. Maybe
what do you mean? It costs more?
Yeah, doesn't it cost more in the UK now anyway?
Yeah, for private, definitely. So it's not like we're talking it's really expensive. It's not. And even for your actual if your prescription and to get your medication, you can get every medication out there.
Mum. That was one of the things I was worried about for Mum, because obviously Mum's got a condition, but she's just.
I'll get my medication, and they're very friendly in the pharmacy. If I forget something, they'll remind me. Or if there's a problem, they pick up for me. Very, very good service.
Yeah. So everybody, I really would say that the medical care is something that private was saying, but it's well worth taking that up. Yeah. Now, Curtis, going back to the question, because this is quite an interesting one. Are you residents or do you have citizenship? How is it with you in terms of, because obviously there are things that you have to go through a process.
So being a British citizen, and also I'm a dual citizen now because I'm also a citizen of Jamaica. I've got my Jamaican passport. Yay! I'm resident. So I'm a resident of Barbados, and we had to go through a process for that. I'll tell you about that in a minute.
Can you tell us a little bit about that process? Just now, because,
okay. So basically, what happens is you've got the form. There's so many different. There's a few ways to get citizenship and indefinite stay in Barbados. So we chose residency, and you fill out a detailed form. the form really indicates you have to sort of, I know what they're looking for. I felt that they were looking for, are you self-sufficient? Are you going to be, you're not going to be a drain on, you know, on the community here. Do you know what I mean? On national resources. We didn't want to do that. So we had to fill out a form to explain that we are not going to be a drain. So they'll ask a bit about your income, about sort of the pensions that you have, to make sure. And also you have a detailed, and it is very detailed, medical checkup. So that's probably spent the whole afternoon doing that. And then the doctor will then write a report and send it to immigration. To this medical form. After that, you filled out the details. We had regular visits to immigration, because then you have an interview. You get to a stage where I think it's almost like they want to see how committed you are to being in the country, and also what you can also maybe perhaps contribute. I'm not sure, but we do have regular visits. So it was at first you get stamped every 3 months, and then you get stamped every 6 months, and then you get stamped a year, and then until you wait a bit. It's quite a process, and you have to be prepared to wait and be patient, and it's all fine.
Yeah, I think I remember Monica saying last week that the kind of administrative things do take time.
It takes time.
They're the things that we might be become sometimes a little frustrated with.
Yes.
In that those things take longer than it would be back in the US or in Canada, UK.
Yes.
So those are the things where we have to sort of practice that little bit of patience.
I think so. I especially when it comes to administration.
Yeah,
you do have to practice patience, but I have to say it was worth it. Now we don't have to, go off island or anything like that.
I have permanent residency as well. I've got a Jamaican passport. I mean, I came in under that Jamaican. It says CARICOM, but it's Jamaican, and it has to be stamped every 3 months. But then when I submitted the application form, and I went through some of that procedure that Denise talked about. But within a year, I was interviewed because of COVID. I think I was interviewed. I was on a boat trip, and I had this call from immigration, and they just asked me a few questions. And about a week later, I got a letter to say that I've been approved.
I have to say that it's because I think not maybe COVID, but I also think it was that because you were with us, so it made it kind of, it just makes it easier as
because they knew at the end of the day you'd already got your residency, and now it made it easier for your mom.
Yeah. But within a year, I got my residency.
Yeah. That's absolutely fantastic. Now, what I would say to Curtis is that coming from the US, I'm sure it's a similar process. And I think if you go back to one of my some of my old videos, different ways of coming to Barbados, it talks a little bit about coming to Barbados, and some of the requirements are, for example, buying property. You could come through the route of retirement, which is what I think you have both done, haven't you? You've come through the retirement route, and you've come through really Reama CARICOM because you was already living and retired in Jamaica. So it depends really, Curtis, in terms of what, you have to be a bit more specific. But if you are retired, then it's 150,000, I think US dollars for a house. If you was to buy property of that's the minimum, then that would get you started in the process of being able to live in Barbados. But there are different routes. But if you go back to some of the videos, you will find out a little bit more. But I'll check and see if I can get something that's specific to the US. and put it in the actual description if there's a link to the immigration, and they give you all the information about that. But I think most people I've spoken to, it is a route that can take a bit of time, but it's worth it in the end. Okay. Now, somebody else said, I think it was about jobs. Is there access to good jobs there for those who wish to continue working? And again, I think this is a question I might have answered last time, but just to say that if you're coming to Barbados, the jobs are actually focused on local people there. The only way that you would be able to apply for a job would be if that job could not be taken up by any local Barbadian there. So that's how they do it. You know, the emphasis is on trying to keep the jobs within the local people because there is a demand for jobs. Unless there is a specific job with skills that nobody within that community can actually fulfill, then they would look for somebody to be able to fulfill that. So yeah, so that's the answer really. But like I said, it's not to say that you can't apply for jobs, like I said, if you have skills that are very specific.
Yeah, just to keep it.
Am I right with that? Am I right with that?
Grant, I totally agree. But also, I mean, we know people who come on the welcome stamp, and you are very much, you can still have a job in the UK and come here, which is another option.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's good. That's good, Denise. And again, that's something that we've promoted here on the channel, which is the welcome stamp visa, where you can come for a year and you can extend it to 2 years, basically get paid from your company in England, US, wherever, and come to work as a nomad, really. And the great thing about the welcome stamp is that there is no double taxation. So it is really, really worth doing that. And there's so many people who are doing that now, and they're really enjoying that.
Yes.
So I would say, if you can get someone to do that for you, if you're, oops, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, if you can get that, if you are lucky to have a company that will pay for you and you can work online, it's definitely a way to go. Definitely, definitely. Now, let's have a quick look at what people are saying in the chat, because there's a lot. Dorothea says, we have a very good doctor here in Barbados. We get regular, thorough checks. Janice says, what, if any, were the sacrifices? I'll put this one up.
Wow.
What, if any, were the sacrifices that you have made to fulfill moving to Barbados? Now, I know, Denise, you did mention your daughter.
Yeah.
But you did put a lot in place, didn't you?
Yes,
to make sure your daughter was set up.
Yes, yeah. We made sure that she's so independent and just thriving right now. So proud of her. But you can't help it. We do miss each other. I mean, that I say to her every time we're going to see her, I said, I'm going to hug you so much. You're going to you'll be fed up of it. But mind you, you kind of look forward to seeing each other. I think they're going to probably come the end of this year. My daughter and my sister, and so I think that's part of the sacrifice. And not to mention, I have some real close friends who are like sisters to me, who I miss terribly as well. But again, I know that we'll get together real soon. I think that's one of the biggest sacrifices I've got to say.
For me, we had discussed this in the family to say that we would try and meet up halfway once a year or as often as we can. So we've been doing that before coming to Barbados anyway. I'd meet my other daughter and Tishani, we'd go to Florida or we'd meet up somewhere for some family occasion. Yeah.
As fate would have it, COVID came along. Could you imagine? So we had already moved here, and then this thing called COVID came. We remember we were making all these plans, and then COVID came, and then the whole world had to do what we had to do, we're doing, which was taking stock and pausing and just, living differently. Because it is different, isn't it? The pace. I think the biggest thing is the pace of life. So that was an interesting thing. And
communicating through things like Zoom.
Yeah,
I'm sure, because that would have been something that you would probably been using anyway.
Yes. Anyway, right? So that's what's helped, isn't it? Now we've continued family Zoom.
Yeah.
So,
and the other sacrifices are just material things. We can work around it, and we can always find a way to deal with that. We can't find whatever we're accustomed to. We can get something else.
Yeah. And is it a sacrifice? That's just life lessons learned right there. What would we prefer? Would I prefer personally that next pair of shoes, or would I prefer to go out, wake up to what I see? I mean, it's a no.
Yeah.
It makes up for it. Waking up to this kind of weather, beautiful sunshine and scenery, makes up for all that.
A lot. Makes up for a lot. And see him being with mom.
Okay. We have another good question. Wait, look, I've seen the scenery. The sunsets are stunning.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The sunsets are stunning from anybody who hasn't, look at the on my community page on the channel, and you'll see some photographs. I've put some photographs up there from the sunset.
Lovely.
So you'll have to have a look. It's absolutely stunning, and it's very sort of cliff top kind of scenery. That's where they live. That's the sort of place that they live in. So Curtis has got another really good question. Are the banking systems safe, and can foreigners purchase real estate in Barbados? Well, you've done that.
Well, it's done that. I mean, it's different. Okay, there's some slight differences, and you think, oh, this system's different. In terms of when we were doing the last part of purchasing our house, because the lawyer asked us to send her the last part of the payment. Like, oh, okay. Anyway, it was different from what we were used to. But I would recommend also speaking to people, and again, referrals. I think it's the best way. Referrals. Somebody else has done it. And now that you're here on this platform, you'll have no problem. It's going to be safe, and it's fine.
Yeah. For me, online banking has worked. I sold my property in Jamaica, and was able to do what I want. And I have not touched wood yet.
And foreigners can definitely purchase real estate in Barbados. Very good. I mean, it's impressive. The thing I would recommend though, is that if you see something from the UK, you can start your search on what is known as Carib List and other places. But I really obviously do recommend you coming to have a good look at what you're interested in. Sort of not to purchase while you're over there. Come and have a look, because you'll be surprised to see some things that that didn't look like that in the picture. But that's everywhere, right?
Yeah. And I have said that actually when, again, and if you look back at some of my videos where I've said, never purchase anything without you going or somebody else going on your behalf to actually see the place, because you'll be surprised at sometimes how, and it's the same in the UK or anywhere, they can take a photograph, but you're not really seeing what's around that place. And I think that's important as well. And also people can take photographs and see make it look bigger than it maybe actually is. So it's always worth that. And that's the really part of the purpose of this group, is that we're building up that kind of community where referrals will count. It's like last week with Monica was able to talk about her Airbnb, and we were also talking about other places that we would refer people to.
Yes, yes.
And I think that's basically what I'm trying to do, because it is very difficult to know sometimes who to go with, because there's so many different estate agents over here in Barbados. And so it's just getting to know. And yes, it is slightly different and things might take a little bit longer, but I would say that it's still worth it. It's definitely worth it to get there.
Yes.
And someone told me last week, there was a guy on last week, and he said it's actually a buyer's market at the moment in Barbados. So if you're interested in buying, this is the time. That's what he was saying.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah. But it's a good. So how did you find your property then? Was it online?
I think initially we were looking and we saw the property online, and then we got in touch with the person, the real estate. Then we just came. It's kind of a similar process to the UK. So that's what we did to many of the properties that we were interested in. Even when abroad, I mean, we were just looking all the time. And then when we had a look, what sticks out for me is that I remember looking at a property. It looked stunning. I had my heart set on a property. It looked so great online. Then we went there, and it was like, then it's not the space that we were looking for. But then when we came here, it's deceiving. You look at the front of the house here, and you think, okay, modest size. It's like a TARDIS here, isn't it, Mum? It's like, wow, Mum gets a whole apartment at the top, So it's like, so it can be.
Yeah. I think actually that's something that you haven't really explained. It would be quite nice if you're able to and you're willing to just explain a little bit about your house, because last week with Monica, she explained that she'd bought specifically. It was like 2 apartments in one.
Yes.
So she could live on one level and then she could rent out the others. Do you want to explain a little bit about yours and why?
We definitely had requirements, and what was lovely was that Mum paid regular visits, so Mum got to see the house, the layout. Because I have to say, you'd have to sort of kind of picture it done. We had work to do on the house, didn't we, Mum?
Yeah, because they wanted a house that was big enough to accommodate me, because I'm leaving my home in Jamaica, and I did not want to. I wanted some space around me, so we had to find the fit, so that I would have enough room for myself, and not to be too squashed up.
So we didn't want Mum. Mum was used to living in a lovely place in Jamaica, gorgeous. And I'm like, I'm not having Mum. Like, I wouldn't want Mum to then be living in, I don't know, cramped, So anyway, we saw the place and we thought, right, let's get to work on refurbing it to meet our needs. So we got a contractor in, and we start setting out. There's a lot of planning involved, and you have to be very, very careful in terms of budgeting, because at the end of the day, I think that perhaps, I'm not sure if I would now. I suppose we needed a contract then, but now I don't think I would probably spend too much on using the contractor so much now that we're more experienced. We'll know someone who could do tiling. We'll know someone who could do plumbing. We know somebody who could. So we probably be able to contract out for ourselves. But the process was, again, wow. There were times when I'd be on the phone with Mum and bang, 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 and knock, 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 and all these things are happening around us, right? And then the budget was going lower and lower. I was like, oh my gosh, right, stop. We need to take a pause and look at what we've got and see what we can work with. Because, you could easily run out of resources if you're not careful. But we had to live as well.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good point there, that you had a certain budget,
Yes.
But then you didn't know how much things were going to cost.
No.
And so that's why, you know, obviously at that point you came and you didn't know that many people. So you went really just with probably one contractor, whereas now you know people and
Yes.
you would be able to say, we'll use this person, we'll use that person.
Yes.
So it could be that if you came and you didn't know people, that you might find yourself going down one route, which might not always be the most, you know, best value in terms of money.
And I can see where this platform will be so useful. I mean, this is the biggest thing about the two things that we're saying about relocating. It's always, with everything, a referral is recommended. A place where you can ask, well, a kind of forum that you can actually share and exchange. That's the biggest thing for me. Like family, friends were able to help us as we went along, but at the same time, you need that. You really do. And then when it comes to purchasing your place, same thing. Do you know a good lawyer? Do you know a good, yes, if you want to go contracting down that route, or do you know a good plumber? You know a good landscaper, you know.
Yeah.
But I think having a contractor though, it's a learning process, and you've got to go through that, and you do learn, and from the mistakes you've made or whatever, you can pass it on to someone and share it, and then won't make the same mistakes as you did.
Exactly. But what I think you're saying is right, Denise, that when you've got a forum like this and a group like this, then you can start to help each other.
Absolutely.
For those who are coming afterwards. So then you can start to say, well, I know this person, or I know this, don't do this because this happened to us. And so that's the whole point of like creating this community, so that we can support each other through that process. Actually, there's a so in terms of buying the home, how long did it actually take you to go through the process?
It took nearly a year, I'm afraid. It took time. Well, it took time for different reasons, and it's a unique reason for everybody. For some people it would be quick. For us, it was slow. It was because we were not, although we were the end of the chain, I thought that we would, because we had the money ready from our, relocating our funds from the UK. It still took time because the person we were buying from, they were going through their own process. So we had to wait on them. And then the legal system was something that we need to get our heads around. So it did take us nearly a year to buy, but it was so excited when we eventually got the keys. But at point, it can be, I'll say it. That's the most stressful part of being in relocating, I think, or being in Barbados. We say it's been an easy life. It is, but this was the most stressful part, I think. Buying the property.
And they do say that even wherever you are in the world, moving,
I mean,
it's the most stressful.
I think what you have to have is that faith that you will be fine. You'll come through it. Don't let it put you off at all. You've got to have that faith that you can do it. You can get through it. You'll do it.
That's good advice, Denise, actually. Very good advice. So Dorothy says the banking system is safe and there's a range of banks to choose from. A and J Watson says hi from London. Hi. And there are a few questions actually from A and J Watson, which I think is actually quite an interesting one. We initially bought a low-cost home via a mortgage. I don't know if you know this, BPWCCUL. I do have I do have Barbadian citizenship through descent.
Well, that's good.
Exactly.
Bonus.
So if you are someone who has citizenship through descent, and you are able then to get a mortgage, that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, A and J Watson. That's really great, because there could be people in the chat and people who watch this post afterwards who would be really interested to see that, because we do have Bajans who are going through their citizenship through descent. I have a friend who's doing that right now.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, my friend's doing that right now. And then let's put on this one. It's Sophie Love. She said, was it a cash purchase or did you get a mortgage?
It was a cash purchase.
Yeah.
So that's why budgeting was so important, because we had the cash purchase, and then obviously we had the whole thing about legal fees and moving and refurbishing. So it was like, we had a whole spreadsheet. It was a project. It was a whole project. Yeah. So you had those skills have to kick in, really. Yeah. Project management.
Yeah, definitely. Sophie's again given another interesting thing. She says, seems like there's quite a bit of fixer-uppers. And I mean, that's what you've done.
I loved it. Yeah, I love it. I think that's a good option too. I mean, there are different options to suit different people. Some people like to build from scratch. I love a fixer-upper because you can really go creative with that. And also, I enjoyed the fixer-upper. I know it's stressful. We had it. It was our own. It took time, but you could actually reconvert. Mum's got her own unit. Like she's got her own kitchen, which is quite large. She's got a spare room. She's got an ensuite in every room. You know, a fixer-upper is lovely because you put your unique stamp on it.
Yeah, because you knew what you needed.
Yes.
And you were able to do that. I tell you, one of the things that I was just so impressed with, and Paul, he worked so hard. Well, all of you did, but I know Paul because utilizing skills is not really come from that trade kind of. That's not his expertise, is it?
He was a social worker, right?
Yeah. But he did it. You see, social worker learned. And now he's fixing that place up. Because one of the things that I was really impressed with is how you bought things from the UK. You shipped them over, like the kitchen, different things like that. Am I right?
Different things from the kitchen came in from the UK. My concern, because I have to say something about living in Fortescue, it's beautiful. I wouldn't have it any other way. But the sea air is so unforgiving in terms of, if you ever want to live near the sea, guys, don't buy metal. Like, for example, if you're going to have garden furniture, plastic or wooden. Do you know what I mean? Or, anyway, I digress.
Yeah, but it's true, actually. That is a very good tip because the sea air does.
Sea air, and it's actually everywhere, right? Because we're surrounded by sea. Where we are in particular, we're quite near. So, yes, the process of actually refurbishing was one of the biggest things. But now it's great. Like, so we shipped over things. So I was worried about the big things, like perhaps a TV or electrical appliances that might be affected by sea air. But we learned, again, amazing. Maybe we could do hacks on it. For example, the refrigerator obviously is metal. So, but when you a film of oil over the metal comes up really shiny and lovely. But the sea air, the salt, is a barrier for salt. So there are little things that we can do. What do we do to combat this? But I mean, you can't avoid rusting nails and things like that. So we have to always try and keep abreast of that. But there are things that you can actually do to combat that. So we shipped a load of stuff over because we realized how expensive things were here. I mean, obviously there's wear and tear, so we'd have to buy the new whatever in the end. But some things are still going strong.
Yeah, and initially when you've just spent all that money buying a property, then money is really quite tight. So that was a really good money saving tip, really, to bring things from the UK and buy things there which you might be able to get in the sale, whatever, and bring them and then put them yourselves there.
And one more thing, what I realized as well was that I was worried because we didn't have time to declutter on the in UK end. Time was the element. Like, we had to just ship everything over. It was crazy. It's like, oh no, all this stuff, we didn't even need that. But you know what? I was so handy on the marketplace. We earned a fortune.
Oh, you sold things on the market.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Guys, pack everything, because people want, what you don't, what you think you might not want, or you think, nah, I won't need that. Don't worry. Get on the marketplace. There's so many things that people need that we take for granted.
Actually, that's really good advice for me. That's really helping me now. Because I was thinking I was going to be throwing away a whole load of things.
No.
Right.
Can
I just say, because A&J Watson, when you was talking about the BPWCUL, Dorothy has just said that's the credit union. And A&J said, yes, that's the credit union. And A&J, I should know that because I've actually just joined it.
Do you recommend joining the credit union?
Yeah. That's what he was saying. He was saying that I think he got his mortgage through the credit union. And then Sophie is saying, did you already have an account with the credit union prior to applying for a mortgage? Sophie is asking A&J Watson.
Okay.
It's definitely worth joining the credit union. But A&J, if you could answer Sophie, because that's what she's really interested to do. But Sophie, yeah, I would recommend it. Where are we? All right. So what Sophie said here, it was quite interesting. She's saying properties are so expensive for no reason. So I'm planning on renting. I see no incentive to buy. What would you say? Because I've heard some people who say that they're just going to come and rent because they've worked it out. Because they've reached a certain age and they think that's what they've worked it out. They've
worked it out and it suits them. Power to you.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you've got to work that. You've got to think about that. But I think also you have to think in your situation, you've got a daughter, you've got children. So, you know, you're thinking you're making life easier for them coming through.
And also there's a legacy to think about.
Exactly. This is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So it depends what you want, really.
Yeah.
And now to do. Okay, so this is another good question. A&J said the medical aspect is limited, so some more serious conditions will more than likely they might need to leave the island to get treated. And I know that you have got some conditions, haven't you? I don't know if A&J. Yeah, you have got certain conditions and that you've had treatments here.
I've had treatment here, yes, and I would consider staying. The money that you spend to go abroad, I think the services are here, and it's just at a cost, and you have to just be prepared.
That's a good point, Mum, isn't it? I mean, you could spend the fees, the travel cost. You take that into account then when you go abroad to get your medical. But I'm not, to be honest, I'm not worried about the equipment or having the quality of medical care here.
I have a heart condition, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And so I'm very happy with the service. And I wouldn't consider going to the UK or to Jamaica. I would actually stay here and get the services and have the services here.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you for that, Reama. And then, okay. Gosh. I'm trying to see, there's so many questions coming in now. Someone was saying, how expensive was it? How expensive was it to ship things over?
Okay.
Can you remember? Because that's a while now.
I think I can just about remember. It was quite I'm not going to say it was cheap because nothing is, in a sense, this day. But was it a couple of grand? I'm not sure. I can't remember now. I would have to go back and look at that. It's nice that is a distant memory, isn't it? But anyway, was it expensive? The thing to take into account about efficiently shipping things over is this. Once you decide that you're going and that you've got everything, I think it's worth it because you've got, because we have stuff in storage now, because we sold our property, and we have had stuff in storage. So it's cost effective to just get going with the shipping and the planning and getting things over as soon as, right? It can be expensive if you're shipping and then have to put your stuff in storage. It's best to ship and have it somewhere. That we were fortunate because we had our in-laws, and our in-law had land, and we had the container. So we were very fortunate. But that again, there's only a time frame for that. Can't do that forever because you've got good stuff, the quality stuff being stored. So the best thing is to just get things going, and get your stuff into your place as quickly as you can. That's the most cost-effective way of doing it. So yes, it's expensive, but you have to use that, take that into account.
So timing is really quite important.
Very.
So basically what you're saying is when you first came over, you didn't have the house, you hadn't bought the house.
Yep.
So you were lucky because what did you do? Did you rent? Did you stay with family? How did you manage that?
Yeah, we stayed in with family. Very, very kind of them. They just put up with us. We stayed with family, bless them. And so we had a container with all our stuff on a piece of land. My family, Paul's family land. It was like, wow. So even and then we were considering renting if it was going to go on for forever. But thank goodness that we didn't have to do that. And then we still had to kind of, think about air circulation and little cryptid unwanted friends going in. But
into the container.
Yeah, we had to be very careful.
Yeah, that's true.
Opening it, closing it, just checking, making sure things were.
Yeah.
So
Denise, these are really good tips for people. If you're shipping something over, you have to be careful because you need to really think about, will it be shipped? Is it going to be going directly into the house that you have purchased?
Right, which is ideal.
Ideal, but if it doesn't work out like that, you may be in a situation like Denise and Paul were, where they stayed with family, and so they actually had the container on that land, and then they had to make sure it was kept aired until they eventually purchased their house and was able to move everything in.
Or you will have to get storage, which will cost,
or pay for storage, which could be expensive. Right, exactly. These are fantastic tips, honestly. Fantastic tips that you are sharing with people, the two of you.
My experience with the shipping, somebody you've got to get a reputable company that sends people in, who knows what they're doing, and they came in and they packed everything. They did everything was done for me.
Amazing.
And they just go through your place from start to finish. And when it got here, it was quite seamless. All the paperwork was done, and everything came to us here. And we liaised, we communicated with the company here from where I'm coming from, and it worked out very well. It was seamless.
Yeah. So you didn't have to go to the port.
No,
because you had an agent that was working for you.
Right, and they came here to come.
Exactly. That's when I moved from. Yes, so that's what A&J Watson is saying as well, and that was my experience when I moved from Abu Dhabi back to the UK. Had an agent, and they do that. So so that would be what we would advise on that. Now
the agent, sorry to interrupt, the agent from the other side do their homework as well. They've checked everything that's coming in. They checked for whatever
critters, was it
whatever the country, this country's what to call it now, regulations, and they work with the regulations and everything that's coming, that's really checked and double checked.
Definitely.
So when we get here, there were no problems.
So there's actually I think the agents are brilliant, and I definitely go with the agents.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I recommend it
because they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Someone A&J has again said, I had an account with the credit union before, but they're still willing to lend if you pass their criteria. So again, for those of you out there who are thinking of purchasing, then it seems the credit union is a good way to go. Now, this is a really good question here. Sophie says she's read horror stories of land disputes and sinkholes, and it's enough for me to not want to build anything, and to make sure that the person selling the property has the legal right to do that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So in terms of, was that something that you considered? Did you ever consider building, or you found the house that you really wanted? So
yeah, we considered building because I've heard really positive, and I've seen positive results from building. So that was a consideration. But for us, no, we were very fortunate to find this property that suits us, our needs. So we didn't have to build.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very sturdy property, and it's in a great community. So we're lucky.
Yeah. Sophie, what I would say, because I'm looking at property myself now, and I think the most important thing is to make sure you've got a really good attorney when it comes to disputes and all these kinds of things. But yeah, I will be hopefully soon interviewing people who have built. So maybe that will be an opportunity to look at those kind of things as well, where you can ask those kind of specific questions. But yes, that would put me off as well. And I think the most important thing is to make sure you have got a good attorney who can check all these kind of things, so that you don't actually have these horror stories. And that's what we're saying about referrals, really, to make sure that you're not in that situation.
Referrals.
And then what else? All right, and that's just exactly what Dorothy has said. In terms of building, the best starting point is to get a well-recommended attorney. That's what she said. So, and Dorothy has built, so she'll know. Now, what else? Oh, yeah. Beige Boy said again, nice to see you from last time. And you said there are horror stories everywhere in every country. Right. There are still good deals out there.
True.
Yeah. That's good to hear that as well. Yeah, we need that. And then another one from Sophie. There are many businesses that could be started. Good point. There is no need to go looking for a job. There is a need for Uber Eats. And is that Lyft? And if you're coming from the US, you can be an online notary.
Notary public. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a great idea.
It's true.
So
this is what we're saying. We need to start our own businesses.
That's right.
You know,
I mean, even me in a small way with my little studio, it's like, I mean, I suppose I could go and do whatever, but might as well you could just be creative with whatever it is you want to do. But
you see, Denise, if you decide you want to take that further, then you can go and take it further and formalize everything.
Yeah,
you can do that.
Yeah.
So this is what I think is really exciting, that people are coming and they're sort of realizing that they've got untapped skills they've never had the opportunity to really be able to utilize, because they've been in jobs where they've just been so focused on those jobs and they've never really had that opportunity. And a lot of it is the creative element, I'm finding. So if you've had this, you're starting to think, well, I enjoy doing this, it's your passion and you want to take it further, then do that. So Sophie, thank you very much, because that is very, very true. We need to start thinking in that way, build our own businesses.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to say this is longer than last time. So I'm just going to say we've got 2 more minutes to answer questions because we've got over the hour. It's an hour and 24 minutes. That's because there's been so many fantastic questions. Quickly get your questions in because I'm literally going to pick the last couple. And let's see. It sounds to me like we might need to have another live just about building. And buying property. Anyway, that's something I'm looking into in the future in terms of getting people who might be able to, you know, that's their actual expertise.
Yes,
we could ask
that would
questions.
be good.
Yeah, so that's something we're going to looking at doing in the future. So yes.
Just think that whatever you do, you put your mind to it. You just keep pushing on and don't be put off by the obstacles. There's always a way.
Exactly.
Where there's a will, there's a way. So.
And you're always going to hear horror stories.
Yeah.
Exactly, definitely. Is there a Yelp or a Google site where you can read reviews on contractors and attorneys in Barbados?
Not that I know of, but I think that would be a great idea, though. I don't know of any. Maybe there is. But I don't know.
One of the things that I'm trying to put together will be a directory.
That would be good.
Yeah. So there will be eventually, but there could be something out there. I don't know. If you do know, then please share that. But that again is something that I'll be working on.
We went on referral as well, didn't we? So
because most people we know are working on referrals.
Yeah.
I think yeah. One last question. It's A and J. I think it's you. Once the land is confirmed through the Land Tax Office, the ownership, I'm not sure if you've missed, once the land is confirmed through the Land Tax Office, is that basically saying that's it?
Yes, you've done your checks. Once you've done your checks.
That's it. Yeah. Thank you. Right. I think we will have the last question really is just, have you got any sort of your last tip or anything that you would sort of say or last kind of point that you might want to put across? Because actually you've given us a lot of tips.
Oh, that's lovely. It's been a pleasure, and if you're thinking about it, I recommend it.
And come and enjoy. Just enjoy. We're living the Caribbean dream.
Exactly.
Take your time. Don't get stressed about it taking too long or too anxious about. Just go at your pace. It does take time, but it's worth it. And it's a lesson about, do we need to rush all the time? We need to have patience sometimes. So
yeah. Thank you.
I wouldn't be the person normally saying that. I'm one that has always been rushing around like crazy in the UK. My UK life is a different life.
I think what's happened is it in terms of, like you say, the way you are now. In fact, that's to me is a good question. Do you see a change in how you are now as to how you were 5 years ago?
Yeah,
you can ask Mum about
definitely.
Anyone.
Right, Mum, what do you say?
For myself as well, because when I came at the beginning, I used to rush around and people would spot you and say, oh yeah, you're from England or you're from the UK. But now you kind of calm down and you just got a slower, you blend in more because you're at a slower pace, and you just, like you said, just living.
Well, can I just say thank you to the both of you? It's been absolutely wonderful. This is the longest, an hour and a half. And the questions they just keep popping up. I'd like to say thank you, obviously, to Reama and also to Denise. You've been absolutely fantastic, you know, sharing your story, because like somebody said in the chat, sometimes people don't want to share the ups and the downs, you know, they only want to share the positive things. And I think it's been really wonderful that you've been very transparent and very open and honest. And that's what people want. You know, they want the real situation so that they can make the best decisions. And I think also I'd just like to say thank you to everybody in the chat. Now, there's a lot of questions that are still coming up now. People are saying thank you very much for all the information, Sophie says to you. Sophie says, I need a life of ease and I am coming.
Definitely a life of ease.
She says, thank you, Jane. Yes, this was helpful. It's just wonderful. Everybody, Dorothy's saying a very helpful insight into your relocation journey. Thank you, Denise and Reama. So everybody's saying thank you. And I just like to also say thank you to everybody in the chat for coming. And if your question wasn't answered, don't worry, because I'm going to be going back through and I'm going to start seeing who I could bring on next to interview who could answer some of those questions. Yes. So we will get there slowly but surely. So if you're serious about making the move to Barbados, you are in the right hands here. Please share this live, share this channel to your family and to your friends. You know, at the end of the day, we deserve to be happy, we deserve to be enjoying our lives, we deserve to be healthy, and we deserve to have that sun. That's what we need. we need the sun, we need the beautiful blue skies. I mean, every day, let's be honest, you look outside your window, what do you see?
The sea and the blue sea and the blue skies and sunshine.
There you go. And it makes a massive difference. So thank you very much. And so Dorothy says it was a great time spent this afternoon. A&J says thanks. H&D, oh, H&D, hi. Excellent. That's another channel that I follow. H&D Abroad, if you're interested to see what they're doing, check out their channel. Again, they are looking at where they would like to move to. So many people are making the move, you know, from the US, Canada, UK. Yeah, we're all looking for places.
We were featured on the BBC.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Now, you'll
get to actually see where we are.
That's exactly it, because I've put it in the description. And there's also a link. So please, everybody, go into the description and you actually see where they live, because they were interviewed as part of a TV program by a British Barbadian journalist. And who was looking at Barbados going through, you know, to becoming a republic. And he was interested to find out an insight into the people of Barbados. And Denise and Paul were interviewed, so you will see exactly what I'm trying to describe.
It's all there.
I'm not doing a very good job. The everything. So click on that. I've actually put they are on towards the end, but it's actually a very insightful video, and I would watch it. But if you specifically just want to see them quickly, go to 17. I think it's 17:11. I've written it down, so if you haven't got time, click onto that, and then you'll see them. But I'd watch the whole thing. He says, "I see drab grey cloud out of my window." And I've got a thunderstorm about to erupt. So yeah, Sophie said she's seen a cloudy sky. Full of chemtrails. John says a big hello from Manchester in the UK to all of you that are watching. We've got 31 people on today, so that's great. It's more than the last time. So again, thank you everybody, and yeah, keep watching out for the next live, which will be in 2 weeks' time. But I'll try and get some more, another video out.
What you're doing is absolutely fabulous. If we had what you when we were moving, would have been just such plain sailing. So thank you.
Oh, thank you
as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to you, and honestly, I really appreciate everything that you've shared today. So that's it, everybody. This is a really last little thing here. It says, check out the area where you'd like to live out the rest of your life. Our mistake is the living is important as the lifestyle. That's right. In other words, check out the area where you want to live the rest of your life. And I think that's important. This is the next chapter in your life. And I don't know about you, but I want to have the best chapter ever. And I think exactly what you said, Denise and Reama, come to Barbados, go all over the island, explore it all, and you will find your perfect place, just as Denise, Reama, and Paul have done. So on that note, we're going to end.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Genevieve. Yes, looking forward to the next live. Bye, Ariella. Bye, everybody. Bye, Dom.
Bye.
Bye.